Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Orsi Parkanyi from Oslo Blockchain Cluster. Today, I am talking with Stephan Nilsson, founder and CEO of UNISOT. We're going to talk about blockchain technology. Stephan is a technical engineer with over 30 years of international experience. He has worked as an integration architect for 20 years, developing ERP supply chain integrations. He has a particularly good knowledge of the world's largest ERP system, SAP. He studied blockchain at the University of Nicosia, and between 2014 and 2019, he started and led the blockchain technology initiative at E&Y Skye. His knowledge and special technical skills made him clearly see the potential for open blockchain technology for the supply chain industry and its challenges, which led him to establish several companies. Stephan has a large international network and is known as a passionate speaker and communicator of advanced technology. Welcome, Stephan. Thank you so much for joining us today at Oslo Blockchain Cluster video series.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
So let's get started. I have prepared a couple of questions for us today. So we're going to have a discussion for about 15 minutes. Let's start with how did you become interested in this area and what is your background?
Yeah, so my background, I've always been interested in technology and in how to communicate between different systems. So I actually started way back in now I'm going to say how old I am almost, because all the way back in the 80s, 90s. I was a ham radio operator, so I had a ham radio. And when I got my first computer, which was a Commodore 64, I directly started to think of how I could integrate these two. So we built something that was called a relay teletype, RTTY, where you actually connected your computer and the keyboard on your computer so that you could type on your computer, and you connected the computer to your ham radio, and then you can send out messages. You could communicate with other people through to the keyboard of your computer and your radio. So that was way before internet existed. So at that time already we could send messages and we could communicate with the keyboard on a computer on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my first job, I was working at Tetra Pak, the milk carton company, a Swedish company. I started working there as a service engineer. So I traveled the world around to install and service these filling machines. But inside these filling machines, we had PLCs, the small computer controllers who control the whole machine, how they were running. So I was getting more and more interested in that computer instead of the whole machine. And that ended up that we made, I was involved in creating the connection from the filling machines to a central computer to have production monitoring on a central computer. And that was in the days when we had green screens with characters and stuff. So we actually built up we draw the filling machines with symbols on the screen, and we could have numbers and so on, how many packages the machines were producing, and if there was a stop and an alarm or something like that. So I always been interested in that way of how we can communicate between different machines. And then I continued at Tetra Pak and went into the computer department, and there they were working with SAP, this big, strange system at the time. And I got interested to start working on that. So that's what I switched over to be an SAP consultant. And also in SAP, I was working with how to integrate SAP with other systems. So with suppliers, or with banks, or with web shops at the times, and so on. So that's my background. And what I learned through this whole journey in my background was the problem that company have to actually exchange information, how many standards and how many different ways there are of doing this. So that's my background, and we're coming in more to how that connects to the blockchain.
Yeah, definitely. So one of your companies is UNISOT. What are you working on right now?
So UNISOT is an enterprise blockchain platform. So what I learned in all my years, I've been working 20 years then with SAP systems and integrating SAP systems. So I learned, as I said, the problem that company have to communicate information. There are a lot of standards and stuff, but it's still very slow and expensive and hard to exchange information, and company don't really want to exchange information. So what I found when I read Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper, so Satoshi Nakamoto was the guy who invented Bitcoin and blockchain. When I read the white paper from him, I realized that this is not just a cryptocurrency system. This is a ledger system. This is a global ledger and a data layer system with economics built into it. And this is exactly what we can use to help companies communicate between each other. So this is what we are doing now in UNISOT, which stands for Universal Source of Truth. So we are using the blockchain as this one universal source of truth and building the system so that companies can connect their ERP systems like SAP or IBM or Microsoft and can connect to the blockchain and then exchange information that way.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned blockchain technology. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of it and some of its applications for those of us who don't know a lot about it?
Sure. So people have been trying to create this blockchain system for many years. Not only since Satoshi wrote his white paper in 2008, but decades before that, people have been trying to build, and the word blockchain has existed before that. The problem that they had and that nobody solved until Satoshi did it was actually to make this blockchain immutable and secure without only any central ownership. There is hundreds of different projects that has been trying to solve this, but they couldn't do it. And this is what actually Satoshi solved with his proof of work and the way that he put together Bitcoin and blockchain technology in one specific way. So all the technologies that are inside this is not new. That's old and tested technology. It's a cryptography, network technology, distribution technology, network technology, and economics. Economics is super important to have in this mix. And this unique mix that Satoshi invented or put together is what blockchain is today. And many people think it's just Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency or just a database, but it's so much more than that. It's actually a timestamp. It's a time record. So, like all companies today are, when we are making business with each other, with companies are making business with each other, we are all working with contracts. So we are writing contracts with each other. I'm going to order 10,000 iPhones from you. You are going to deliver 10,000 iPhones to me, and so on. And today we do that with paper contracts, and we go to a third party who secure that contract. And that third party could be a lawyer or a specific company that we both trust, or it could be a notary. And what blockchain is actually doing is that it is the electronic notary in the network. So you don't need that third party that we both have to trust, but we can trust the system itself. And nobody is owning this system. That's why we can trust it.
It's a lot more reliable and
it's the most reliable system we have in the world. We used to say that it's written in stone when we say something is really secure, but I think that in the future we will change that to say it's written in the blockchain. If it's written in a blockchain, nobody can change it without everybody knowing it. So it's the most secure system that is available in the world today, and it has been up and running for over a decade, for 11 years.
Yeah. So cryptocurrency is one of its main applications that probably are the widest known. But what are some of the other applications of the technology globally, and where do we stand in Norway with the adoption of this technology?
Yeah, so of course the Bitcoin and all the alternative coins that came out of this, because it was open source, when Satoshi Nakamoto released his software in January 2009, it was open source, and a lot of different people and organizations copied this and tried to make their own version of it. So that's why we have thousands of different altcoins or alternative coins. So that was the first use case, just to send coins back and forth, to send values back and forth. But the last years, let's say 3, 4, 5 years, we have actually starting using the blockchain functionality in this, the data layer, the economic data layer, that is the technology in this. And there is a lot of different solutions that call themselves blockchains, but most of them are not actually a real blockchain, immutable and secure as Satoshi Nakamoto invented it. Many of them are simply just advanced replicated databases. To go to the next question then, how is this in Norway? So it depends on how you look at it. I have two different views. Norway are both very far ahead. We have a number of companies in Norway who is really the cutting edge in this. At the same time, we have companies who are not that far ahead. So Norway is a conservative country, but we have some front-end companies as well that are very far ahead in this technology. I have a paper here. This is all the companies in Norway that is working with blockchain. So you see, it's a lot of different companies. So we have a good community here, and that's what we in Oslo Blockchain
Cluster. Yeah, we are also building that community here.
Yes, and it's important that the company are working together to get this blockchain functionality up and running, and to actually start using it in the right way, in an efficient way. So yeah, I'm very happy about the community in Norway at the moment.
So I guess we will be talking later on a lot more about where these companies stand. We're going to interview some of these companies as well. So thank you so much, Stephan. Today we discussed a bit of a background about the technology itself and some of its applications, and where do we stand in Norway. And for you who are listening, please stay tuned. We will be sharing a lot more educational videos similar to this one. Thank you so much for being here with us. That's how much time we had today, Stephan.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to the following episodes.
Great. And please, guys, subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more videos. See you next time.
See you.